the Salt Palace Convention Center at the Triple Crown Volleyball NIT. We are deep into our guest list now, and which means we've finally woven our way to a worthwhile guest, a meaningful guest. Everybody else here has just been seat fillers until A5 Mizuno gets represented with Bob Westbrook. Bob, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Bob Westbrook and A5 Mizuno have been part of this event since it made its debut here in Salt Lake City. A fixture not only at this event, but a fixture in junior club volleyball across the country. Before we talk about A5 or whatever else we're going to wind up talking about, congratulations on what you've built with the program.
That's kind of you. Honestly, it's there's a lot of people behind it, families, organization, a lot of great people committed at the same time to a common vision, and that's what it really has been about for us more than anything else. So I'm actually blessed and honored to be part of that effort.
So the short straw you draw is when you're in a program like that with all these great people, you're the guy who has to come up here and do this, but there are 100 people who would be worth bringing up here from
Absolutely.
A5.
Absolutely.
And we acknowledge that, and we do appreciate all those great inputs. It's just like when we talked to Sean Hardy about this event, the Triple Crown staff and all the people who make these things go. Oftentimes there's one person who kind of gets noticed, but there are so many people who it doesn't happen without, and I'm sure A5 is no different.
They do great work. They do great work.
So with A5 Mizuno, and actually we'll rewind a little bit, Front Range Volleyball Club in Colorado. So you're in Atlanta, Georgia area. Alpharetta, I think, is sort of the hub, right?
That's correct.
But you actually were one of the founders of Front Range Volleyball in Colorado.
That's true. In 1981, I moved to Front Range, or to Denver, and it was so ripe. It was such a ripe time. There was so many great athletes. And I sat down with 2-3 guys and said, hey, why don't we make this a national level club? And I wish I could say that I was the reason, but what was real is that we agreed that was the vision we wanted to execute, and there were just a ton of great athletes in the area and people that wanted to be that, and it grew into something special.
So, of course, we're at the Triple Crown Volleyball NIT in Salt Lake City. Crossroads in Denver is one of the biggest volleyball draws of the year. So it's probably great for you that you get to go back to that and go back to the Colorado homeland, that part of your life.
It does. The first Front Range tournament was in 2 gyms, maybe 30 teams, and now it's one of the biggest tournaments in the world.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's unbelievable. Triple Crown has a media and marketing division as part of what Triple Crown Sports does, and Andy Hansen heads that up. And Andy was actually a kid who grew up in Glenwood Springs, Colorado.
Oh, sure.
His family owned a rafting company. You spent a bunch of years as a rafting guide and outfitter, right? So, Andy, you guys need to get together for dinner here.
Oh, Pete Hansen, is that? Oh, yeah, yes, I know that family. But
there you go.
Should have remembered that because Andy's told me that. But that's awesome.
So it's nice to have volleyball crossing over everything. Now we got rafting involved here. There's a little bit of everything happening.
Yeah.
With A5, there's so many things we can talk about. 2016, number 116 Open. 6 years, you qualified more teams for the USAV Nationals than any other club. I mean, I suppose it's not even really, and so many clubs here, we can do that. We can run a long list of the accolades and the accomplishments. What is it about A5 and the club? And I know you mentioned the families and all those who contribute, but we can hang up these banners and these things. What are the things that make you most proud at the end of the day?
Well, we've only done one thing that we think is remarkable. And from whatever success we've had have come from that one thing, and that is our culture. And we've had to create culture in a vacuum. And I'm not being disrespectful about that. South, in particularly Atlanta, is not exactly a centerpiece for volleyball in the United States or in the world. But we felt like that at the time that there was a common vision both on the parent side, on the organizational side, and on the athlete side that they wanted something more. And it starts with culture. Culture trumps strategy every single time. And we nurture that. It's very fragile, something that we think is the most important thing we do.
During the course of some of these interviews, and Bob's no different here, you might notice if this backdrop flails around, our television court is right behind us here, the championship court. So now, and there are matches going on right there right now. So when balls get hit off the court, they hit this. So we just had one happen. So if Bob gets overrun with this background, don't worry. Everybody's okay. Don't send in the authorities. It's just how it works when you get in one of these setups where you got 20 courts and balls flying in every direction. With A5, I'm curious, take us through the origins of the name A5. Where does the name A5 come from?
Well, A5 springs from Atlanta and then our 5 core values. Common coaching, consistent communication, clear set of values. There's 2 others that I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it was, again, part of our cultural commitment. We felt like, our mission statement is teaching life lessons through the sport of volleyball. And our core values reflect what we think that will help us achieve those goals, that goal.
Okay, good. So many of these clubs, especially a club that's grown to the size yours has, and what we see a lot of is the girls, the young women on the junior side, but the boys programs are also thriving. I think I saw your boys' sport teams just qualified for nationals about a week ago. Congratulations to them.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about the boys' side of A5 and sort of what are the dynamics compared to how the girls' side runs?
Well, I think the big thing with guys is they have a lot of other choices athletically, and girls do too. But volleyball is a relatively new sport for a lot of men in the South. But there is a great deal of demand for it. You can see our programs tripled in just 2 or 3 years, and we think it will double again in the next couple of years. There's 1,000 families in our system, and we really are proud of the fact that we have a boys program, we have a SAM program, we have a local league that we run, and then we have 3 locations where we have 70 teams and 1,000 athletes and families involved in the program.
So in Georgia for boys, what's the high school, say the scholastic scene?
There is no, they can have a club, but there is no state volleyball. Now, I do expect to see that happen, given the amount of demand and the fact that it's really growing rapidly. In the next 2 or 3 years, I think we'll see that. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. On your girls' side and the players you have in your program, with where you're at geographically, do they tend to aspire to Southeastern Conference programs, SEC, or what's on the top of their minds?
I think at one point in time that was probably true, but we really try to help them expand their perspective. Like one of the best things going in college, for instance, is to play high-level academic Division III or Ivy League. You get a great experience there of both volleyball and education, and you can do some other things. So we try to help athletes decide for themselves, choose a variety of schools to look at, but one that's going to be, or 1 or 2 or 3 that are a great fit for the kinds of things they want to do. And some of that's Southeastern Conference and ACC, and we're blessed to have some athletes in the Big Ten and some athletes in the West Coast, but it also involves a broad gamut of schools from all over the country. Initially, probably people focus a little bit too much on the SEC, because not everybody can play in the SEC or the ACC. Yeah. It requires a certain level of athleticism.
Yeah, and that's so true. I think even these top-level club programs of 14 to 18-year-old players, only a few of those kids are ending up at maybe the places that are top of mind that you think of, 100%. The national championship caliber. Yes. But there's so many great opportunities, so many good coaches who are doing good things not only in volleyball coaching but in the development of young people.
Well, it changes their lives forever. I mean, there's some athletes that won't play college ball, a few, and that's okay. That's their choice. But we tell athletes all the time, play. If you decide you don't want to play, if you get into it, that's okay. But the camaraderie, the sacrifice, the understanding of what discipline it takes to be a good player, a good athlete, play on a team, the support you receive from school. I just talked to the new Georgia coach, Tom Black. He was just stunned at the amount of academic aid and the way they support their athletes. And I think that's true in a lot of places. It's just a great choice for so many young athletes. We're very honored that so many of our girls right now, 100% of our girls for the last 7 or 8 years, 17 or old, will go on to play college volleyball if they want to. Yeah. Speaks to them more than it does to us.
Yeah, good point. Well, and that's, you talk about the different qualities, the different, outcomes that you get by continuing and playing in college. Just the time management skills alone. And it's interesting to watch how many players struggle more out of season to stay on task with their books than they do in season.
Yep. Oftentimes, athletes' grades will go up because they have to be disciplined. And it's shown this nationally is that businesses want to hire athletes. They want to hire athletes that are in systems. They have the qualities that they're looking for to build a team inside of their business, and so from that perspective alone, it's incredibly worth it.
We're at the Triple Crown Volleyball Nationals here in Salt Lake City, and we're running through a day of chatting with a whole array, a cast of characters of people who've made their way to Salt Lake City. Bob Westbrook and A5 Mizuno made that trip from the Atlanta area. Pretty good haul for you to come out west here for this one.
It was brutal. I can't say it any other way. Most of these girls got up, went to school, or did something around their area, and then we got on a plane, had a layover in Las Vegas. Then we had a delay in Las Vegas. Got in about 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. Had to get up this morning at 6 to play at 7:40. It was brutal. But
you've been here multiple years, so you're choosing to come. So why is that?
Because we cannot replace the competition. I mean, we committed early, and we see nothing but growth because of the hard work of the Triple Crown folks and the commitment of a whole bunch of a program to say we want to play each other and we want to play the best competition we possibly can. And for us, early in the season, if we're lucky, it shows us that we can compete with the best teams in the country. So far, every year we've come out here, it's made our season because we've just confident, a lot more confident. We think we may not, but we think we can play with anybody.
Yeah. 400-plus college coaches is the head count of those who are running around the floor here. Hard to beat that, too.
No, it's as good as it gets.
It's 20 courts. I was talking to Sean Hardy earlier. It's 20 courts. Not that they don't divvy them up or anything, but that ratio is 20 college coaches per court.
Well, and you can go on any court here and see a college coach. I mean, it's extraordinary, and it's the wide variety of coaches coaching in the Ivy League, coaching in the West Coast, East Coast. They're from all over the place. It's very exciting for athletes.
Yeah, and they smartly tend to wear their gear.
They do.
You know, and some of them you recognize by face, but most of them you don't.
Yes.
And they're representing a smaller program or an Ivy or a high academic opportunity. And so it's important for young players that are walking around to understand that, and we've brought this up a couple times today, and I know you have this perspective. These college coaches are people. They're humans.
Yes.
And a lot of times I think a young person, there's that intimidation factor or that, you're not like, and these are just people who they want to probably enjoy themselves, have a better day. Let's smile and have a good time today. Let's interact with each other as human beings. And so I think the younger that an athlete can realize, this is somebody maybe like my mom, like my dad, like my uncle.
Yes. Well, in the long run, programs are built on human relationships. The best coaches and the best leaders understand that, right? That, we're our product. We're trying to play volleyball at a really high level. But if we don't succeed as human beings, then we probably failed. Yeah. And so and you can see that with so many of these college coaches do a great job with that because they understand that principle.
Yeah. So I'm with you. The travel day yesterday sounds like it was difficult.
It was.
But you're no strangers to travel.
No.
You hit Europe in November of last year, a European trip for A5 Mizuno. Talk to us about that.
Oh, man, it was so extraordinary. It's our fourth trip. Went to China 4 years ago, Southern Italy and Europe 3 years ago, Brazil last year, and now we went to Berlin, Prague, and Krakow. And the competition was just outstanding. Took a really good team, had great competition, but the life experience is just unbelievable. When you're walking across that bridge in Prague, you may not know where you are, but you know it's someplace, for sure.
Yeah, that's not going to leave your mental
images
for a long time.
Just like standing on the Great Wall of China, I can still feel that.
Yeah,
I still feel that.
So on a trip like that, a couple travel days on each side. How many days?
We go off for 10 days. Mm-hmm. We played 7 matches in 10 days. Practiced once, and usually about 2 or 3 matches in the city. And we work hard, play hard. We'll get up, walk all day, do historical tours, and visit places. We went to Auschwitz. We went to some places that were unbelievably fun as well. And then we sampled food, and we went to when we were in Brazil. We went to a samba dance hall in the middle of nowhere. Just spectacular stuff.
And what are the players and what are the things you hear when you're there that are, because sometimes they'll say things that weren't the things you thought they'd be the takeaways. I mean, do you hear funny little anecdotes from the players?
Oh, they do. And what's interesting to me is the volleyball changes their life for sure, but how much the human side of the experience, they didn't expect it to be as impactful as it is. They'll talk about that stuff, the human side of what we do, for literally years. I'll turn to one of the girls and say, "You remember?" And they'll go, "Oh, yeah, I remember that so well."
Do you have college coaches who are a little frustrated about that? Because a lot of colleges do these summer tours. You're sort of stealing their thunder. These kids go to college and they're, what are they going to impress them with? These are pretty cool trips.
They are cool trips. We're actually trying to expand that because we feel like that is so impactful that we need to have more of our athletes do that. So we're trying to add a second tour this year. We're not exactly sure where we'll go with that, but that's our goal right now.
Well, you've kind of been an adventurer all your life, right? So this is right down your alley.
Well, I've been blessed about that, but it's part one of the reasons why I do it is I get to see new places. And gosh, the first time I came to Salt Lake and played here, it felt like we were explorers because there were five really good teams here and about 15 or 20 other pretty good teams here, and to be part of it made our club. It made us aware that we can play with the West Coast teams. We can play with a lot of the teams that we just don't see very often.
Yeah. Bob Westbrook with A5 Mizuno. Before we let you go, anything we haven't with the A5 program or anything in general that we haven't touched on that you need to make sure that gets said today?
Well, I just want to thank our families, the people that support us. And I want to thank Triple Crown for the vision and the commitment to create an event that is truly the best event of its kind in the United States. And we're very honored and blessed to be here. And thanks for taking the time to talk to me. It means a lot.
You bet. Well, good luck with, you've got 2 more days of play. Good luck with what happens on the court. Enjoy the trip.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it very much.